see. All right, welcome in. It's ATB at the buzzer. Adam here. No Timmy today. Timmy is off doing something. We're not really sure what he's doing. Rubber Shoes is somewhere on your screen. Scotty Dukes is here, and Little Shoes in the building as well. A lot to talk about today, but before we get to it, we're going to remind you to go to atbshow.com. Check out all of our profiles, our social profiles there. You can watch the show on YouTube or listen to it on your favorite podcast app. And don't forget to check our Instagram for the Rubber Shoes rant and wrap up. Every single day, the dude is doing this. So go check it out. And he reminded me that I would know about all sports if I just watched his wrap up. So I'm going to have to start doing that. So make sure you check it out. All right, boys, let's get into it. We are starting.
Quick question. Who else is watching the game live besides me?
I was just going to jump into that because we're recording this at 5:05 on Wednesday. And we had a huge debate about whether we should even record the show during the Red Sox game, but the Sox are on. So Rubber Shoes is watching it. I think we're going to get live updates, right? If anything happens.
If I put it up behind me, we get copyright strike, right?
Yeah.
Plus I left the audio out.
Scotty says he has his on too.
Well, yeah, you're gonna see like the flashes of like the literally on my monitor right here. So
okay, good.
I have like stats on this monitor, and then I have the game on this monitor.
And so by the time we post it, it'll either be 3-2 Houston or 3-2 Red Sox. But we won't tell you that. We won't spoiler. But we'll get pretty close because we're gonna go through the next hour and talk about the game. Let's talk first of all about last night's game. Last night's game was an abomination. I have to say, I'll be honest. I went to bed.
Only like one inning.
Well, right. But that was an important inning though.
Until the ninth.
It was a pretty important inning.
Yeah. But you can't say the whole game was an abomination.
No, you're right. You're right. Okay. Fair enough. The ninth inning was an abomination.
Yeah.
Who wants to rant about the umpiring first? Because I know that's going to be a large topic of conversation.
I'll start. You know what? The strike that he didn't call for Evaldi that would have ended the inning. We got some ourselves. Rafael Devers probably should have struck out before he got the walk when Xander hit the 2-run homer. Mm-hmm. It was a questionable call on that. The ump was consistently bad for both teams, I believe. So I'm not going to say, oh, they should have won or they should have went to extra innings if it wasn't for the ump. It was about, I would say it was pretty much down the middle for both sides.
And I agree with you, Rubber Shoes, as well. But where I get frustrated with the whole friggin' thing is why the hell does Diaz have this game? Why is he's one of the worst umpires statistically in baseball, and he gets game 4 of the ALCS behind home plate? What are you doing?
I don't think they have the. I know the NFL has a pretty good system of how they keep people going through the playoffs. I don't think baseball does because, there's no way he should even.
They can't because they have they've had Joe West for years, who's just terrible, and others and stuff like that. I mean, and Tyler probably knows this too, but basketball has one. Basketball, the NBA is very particular about throughout the entire season, they're all graded, and then you have to have
Chris Paul in the finals.
Well, that's different. But
Scott
that right there was the NBA being like, nah, we want the Bucks to win. We don't like the Suns.
Yeah.
So I think I read online today that Diaz missed, according to some ESPN stats, he missed 32 calls or something like that. It was either 32 or 23, but either way, that's horrendous. I mean, you're right in the sense that actually that's okay because then it sort of evens out between the two teams. If it was 32 calls against the Red Sox and none against Houston, that's different. But if it's right down the middle.
Yeah, I think as fans of one team, you remember the ones against you.
Right, of course.
At least he's consistently sucky with both teams.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And I mean, there's this whole debate about whether or not to let the umpires be that heavily involved in the outcome of a game. I personally, people talk about robot umpires. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that it reduces the game to a video game at that point.
I think they should use the strike zone like you see on TV. Have that.
Yeah, they should do that for sure.
Automatic. That should be the strike zone. The ump shouldn't call balls and strikes. Just let that. It would make the game go a lot faster because it's a strike or it's not a strike. And that, a lot of pitchers, if they're getting a couple inches off the plate, they keep hitting there. So that's harder. It slows the game down. It's harder for players to get hit. If if you have to throw it over the plate, then I think it speeds up the game also.
Well, it's at like you ever watch that professional wiffle ball stuff where they have like, I can't remember the exact what it's called, but they have like basically a backstop where they throw and you can
as long as it hits the backstop.
As long as it hits anywhere on the rectangular backstop, it's a strike. And if it misses it and whatever, but
can we just discuss for a minute? Can we just discuss for a minute that you have experienced professional wiffle ball? Where are you watching this?
The Ocho.
Yeah.
I mean,
YouTube videos.
They're all over.
I didn't even know this was a thing. This is I'm learning something new every day.
Other than the WNBA, Scotty and I watch everything else.
Yeah, that's an abomination.
He's watched cornhole tournaments on ESPN.
That is the worst thing I've heard all day.
But I watch cricket. I watch cricket if I flip by it.
I watch poker.
It's horrible. No. How do you not watch the WNBA? This is obnoxious.
I have accidentally put it on there.
I don't know if I've ever watched like a minute of a full game or anything. Now they really think about it. I don't even know where to find that crap.
I'm not going down this rabbit hole because I'm not going to win this, and the season's already over. So we got to talk about the Red Sox.
The door break thing was funny though. I did see that.
Oh, okay, all right. So you watched the drama of it. So you're like a Real Housewives watcher of the WNBA, Tyler. I got it. Okay.
It's more the.
Yeah, whatever shows up on Instagram and YouTube, he sees.
And then you just read the comments of people wondering why they got posted in the first place, and then it's a whole thing.
All right, so here's a question, right, with the Red Sox. Let's put last night's game to bed a little bit here because we obviously are back into the throes of it today. But here's the question about last night's game. Do you guys think it matters if you lose a game? So they lost it in sort of epic fashion in the last inning, right? But if you lose that game 3-2, does that make a difference going into tonight's game versus losing it 9-2, or do you think it's just the same?
I would say it does a little bit. Especially with it right at the tail end, that explosion, it can definitely have a toll on their confidence a little bit and be more of a mental thing. I mean, they were right there and they just slipped away. If they lost, 9-2, and by the fifth inning, it was pretty much over, then it's different. But I think the fashion they lost, it could have a bit of a, hopefully not, but.
I don't think so. Look at the two games the Red Sox won. They smoked them right out of the gate. And so what? Astros were just going to fold up and go home? No, they came back, and then they had that monster inning last night. So it's as they say, momentum in baseball is as good as your next starting pitcher. So if your starter is doing well and shuts them down, then it makes them press a little more. And they swing at bad pitches, but if you're, like the two games we had the grand slams, and we had two grand slams the first two innings, and then the grand slam in the third inning, I think, was Schwarber's.
Mm-hmm.
So you start off good, and next thing you know, you're down 4-0, and it's all momentum can happen in a game. I don't think it can go from game to game.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think it's
go ahead, Ty.
I'm just interested to see how Kike does today, because I feel like after what happened yesterday, they were even talking about on commentary where maybe he's going to lose a little bit of confidence after what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He got a hit at the ninth inning though, right? So at least he went 1 for 5.
It was a little,
like a little flare into right field or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest problem with this Red Sox team is that if their bats don't come alive, it's almost like you might as well just stop playing, right? Because their pitching is just, or their bullpen is just mediocre.
Their soul is coming out on fire at the beginning and hitting all these runs.
Right, exactly.
So, even we go up 12 runs in the second, you're still like, we got to wait, and we might let up 18 in the freaking ninth inning.
Yeah, right. What do you think, Scotty?
Well, for two parts. One, that actually Belichick, I thought, had something very similar to this discussion. Someone had asked him this week on the radio around, because they're playing the Jets this week, and we just played them a few weeks ago, and he's like, well, each game is its own entity. And I think that's a really good way to word this, you know what I mean? And Billy said it well too. It's like, really they just, last night was last night, gotta turn it around and just play today and not really think about it. The only time that it probably would ever creep in their heads is if something very similar happens, like they can't hit for some reason and they struggle for the first 6, and then some doubt might creep in, but otherwise I don't think it's that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, I think that, for me, I think they still have a lot of confidence. And I would think to a man, even though like from a fan perspective, none of us really trust our $30 million man there, Chris Sale, right now. But we're not supposed to say spoilers, or we can give updates because he just got a 1-2-3 first inning. I'm just saying.
Oh no, we can do.
Although,
we just let's.
Altuve hit one. I was
I know. He hit one to left field, and I puckered up a little bit. I was like, oh no.
Oh, okay, all right.
But he caught it. But
would you say so far that we've shown that we're, at least in this series, definitely the better team?
I think it's honestly, it's really even. What's crazy to me is like, what difference would this have been if McCullers was going to start, right? Their starting pitcher, their best starting pitcher, their number one, because he got hurt against Chicago for Houston. So, I think right now it's pretty even. They both have really deep lineups. They both work starting pitchers. I think the Red Sox work the starting pitcher better. But, I think it's relatively even. I think that from a starting pitching perspective, by far, the Red Sox have been better through the first 5 games.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. That's just, that's night and day. But otherwise, I think offensively, I feel like they're both relatively.
Yeah. I mean,
the same.
Definitely closer now because before last night that Astros hadn't scored more than 5 runs a game, right?
In the series.
In the series,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, what I think is so interesting is like, I remember it was probably 2 months ago, we were talking about Sale and, what a great, sort of quote unquote acquisition he was going to be coming back from the All-Star
break. That was
our
like little bit of hope there with that.
When we were so excited about it.
And he was good at the very beginning.
And honestly, a couple months ago, if you had said to us, right, I think for all 4 of us, if you had said to us, like, you're going to have Sale going in game 5 of the ALCS, we would be thrilled by that. But at this point, we're sort of on edge, right? We're kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. So it's good to hear that he went 1-2-3 in the first inning. What do you guys think is the result of tonight? Rubber shoes.
Well, first of all, the momentum thing where in 2004, game 3, the Red Sox lost 19-8.
Right.
And then they won the next 4 games. So,
but that was a bunch of idiots. I mean, you can't.
This is a bunch of idiots.
I'm rooting for my prediction because the Red Sox need to win in order for me to be right about my Red Sox at 6. So they need to win tonight. So I'm going to say they're going to win tonight.
Okay.
And go to Houston and close it out game 6.
Interesting. All right. What do you think, Scotty?
Yeah, I think the Sox win tonight. I think, some home cooking will happen. And I think they're going to get to Valdez, to be honest with you. I think they're going to work him from Houston, and I think they're going to win. So good.
Was that pitcher really hurt, you think?
Bullshit. No, absolutely not. Absolutely. I went on a freaking rant with my brother.
They came out and they had to talk him into,
come on.
Just say your knees hurt so we can let the Dizzy warm up for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was
brutal. And here's the thing too. It was funny because game 1, I said to my brother too, I was like talking to him like, you got the pitching coach, you got old man Winter walking out there at like, a freaking snail's pace to get out to the mound.
Yeah.
Then he's on the mound in game 1 forever. The umpire kind of like literally stood there for like another 20 seconds to break him up.
Right.
And I'm like, could there be some kind of like, I'd love to see a penalty of some kind. They don't have that, but but that just breaks up the momentum. There's a lot of talk about momentum, but like the just like the flow of the Red Sox were doing at that time. Yeah, for sure.
Didn't work because he ended up giving him a grand slam too. So
he did, but I mean, that's
glad it didn't work out for them.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why everybody hates the Astros, though, right? Because they always pull that kind of crap, and it's so frustrating. And as a fan of the other team, it's like, all right, enough already. Just play the game, for God's sakes.
I love that Alex Cora got all over Erod for doing this thing.
The time.
Why don't give them anything? Don't give them any bulletin board material, Just play the game, beat them, and move on.
So
Correa's response to that, though, where he was like, I think it's great. He's like, I think baseball players need to be more like themselves. And, he was like, say the core shouldn't have, told them not to do that. He's like, we're not a bunch of robots. We have personalities. He's like, I think that was awesome.
In the locker room, they're like, oh, you see what that?
Yeah, you see that mother.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened with us and the Yankees, like 2018 when they played New York.
I personally am a fan of any player that is really just taking it out on the other team, speaking up and saying what they feel, because like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Aaron Rodgers, when he called out,
I
Bears,
love that
said,
stuff.
I own you. I mean, that's amazing. I still own you. That's amazing because he does. The guy's only lost like 4 games against the Bears in his entire career. So if you can back it up, I have no problem with you saying it.
It's a little different in a regular season game than the playoffs, I think, though.
Hey,
I think it's better in the playoffs. I like it better in the playoffs.
I like that type of stuff. I mean, if what happened to us in overtime was the other way around and one of our players did that to a Cowboys player, I would have loved it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we played that well we'll talk about the Patriots. I don't think we played that well to be trash talking personally if we had won, but still, I just love when these guys just jaw at each other. I think it's hysterical, and not only hysterical, I think it's really great for morale for the rest of the team, honestly, because there are guys that aren't going to do that, right? There's a lot of guys in the locker room that aren't going to do that. So it's good that if there's 1 or 2 guys that'll get the other team riled up. I personally
really would have liked if Jalen Mills punched CD Lamb in the face after that and waving.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that was a little obnoxious.
When I saw that, I was like, I give Mills a lot of credit. That was a lot of restraint because I would have boxed that dude right in the
game's
house.
over at that point.
Yeah,
right.
Oh yeah, I would have definitely hit him.
All right, so I guess we're moving on to the Patriots, so that's good. We will talk more Red Sox, of course, as the show goes on, because I'm sure there will be updates from the live broadcast that Rubber Shoes and Scotty are watching. All right, Patriots, let's talk about them. I'm going to put this out there. Is it the best loss in Bill Belichick's career? And I'm going to just let me explain real quick, and then you guys can bash me about it if you like. But here's my explanation. You've got a rookie quarterback against arguably an MVP candidate, most likely in the top 3 of the discussion at this point, now that he's throwing so well and the Cowboys offense is just clicking. You've got a defense that's a little bit banged up, not as banged up as other defenses around the league, but a little bit banged up. And you hung with the possibly one of the top 2 or 3 offenses by the end of the season in the league, right? Now, I understand there's no such thing as a moral victory. I get that. But is this not a confidence building game where you can say, we put it all out on the field. We pulled them to overtime, coming off the heels of the game against the Bucks, where they played Brady and the Bucks very well. I personally think this was a good loss, as much as a loss can be. And now you guys can have at it.
Since I got to go in like a couple, I'll get this out first because this is something that's been bothering me. I am so goddamn sick of moral victories with this team. I feel like the last 2 years, that's all it's been. Last year against Seattle, where we just barely lost. Oh, the Seattle Seahawks are really good. And this season's been that. It's like we just barely didn't beat the Buccaneers. We felt so good. And then the next week, the freaking Texans scored 23 points on us like that. And it's going to happen again. We're going to feel good about it. And then next week, Zach Wilson's going to like throw 5 touchdowns in the first half and we'll somehow win. And then we'll beat the Jets. And then we play is it the Chargers next? Yeah. And then we'll just barely lose to them and be like, well, the Chargers are really good. We'll feel okay about it. And then go on to the Panthers and lose or something. I feel like that's all this team has been. So I can't feel great about it. I'm not like, I wasn't pissed we lost because I didn't expect us to. And we looked good, but I don't want to get in that mindset because that's why I feel like that's all that's been there to have. All we've had left. Yeah. All we've had to hold on to is like, oh, remember that time when we almost beat a good team? I just want to beat these teams.
Well, yeah, me too. I agree with you. I want to beat the teams too, but I also think you have to look at it from a building perspective. And, Mac Jones has looked really good as the quarterback, honestly. I mean, the last couple of games, he's looked really solid. I mean, he threw a couple balls that weren't great against the Cowboys, but he looked pretty good. I mean, for a rookie quarterback, I thought he looked really good.
That's my other issue, I think, is that still, even with this game, we had a few opportunities to close them out, and the coaching staff still isn't full. Like, it's like Mac Jones threw this freaking 35-yard bomb perfectly, gain a yards, and then we're going to run the ball with Brandon Bolden twice and then throw a screen pass and then 3 and out. Like, we're in these opportunities to win. Put him in the sink or swim position to win the game or lose the game, because at least he's got to adapt to these situations at some point and prove that, hey, he can win us this game. Or, you can't just hide him forever. He's in the NFL now. It's big time. He was on Alabama. He does this stuff all the time,
All right. What do you think, Scotty?
I think it's funny to kind of piggyback on what Little Shoes is saying around what has been the theme of the season. There's been two themes. One is, the moral victory thing, which I don't look at them as like moral victories. I look at them as heartbreaking losses. You know what I mean? Like those are like where, look at it, Miami, you're a fumble away from winning that game. They're a kick away from potentially beating Tampa Bay. And then you're, right there with Dallas. But in a face mask call, in my opinion, on that. But anyway,
that was. But
But at the same time, it's just like the other thing is like everyone's like, Mac Jones looks really good. Yes, he does. He's not the problem. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, Mac Jones looks great. Yes, we know Mac is good. Mac has looked great so far. He's definitely proven so far this year that he's going to be an NFL quarterback. So let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about the play calling. Let's talk about the fact that, Mac is ready to, he's not, doesn't need to wear the pull-ups anymore. Okay. The kid's ready to move on. Let's just let him unleash a little bit. And also defensively, that's a home run.
No.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Sorry. But
Houston hit a home run or
yes. Oh. Scotty's on a little bit of a delay from me.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw you roll your eyes at something too, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Either I said something or something bad happened, and then I just happened to look over. But yeah, with the defense, yes, Dallas is a really good offense, but that defense giving up like 560 yards or whatever it was, 567 yards or something ridiculous. It was a massive amount of yards. It was like the ultimate like bend but don't break type of situation. Reminded me a ton of like the Philadelphia Super Bowl, to be honest with you, where the defense couldn't stop anybody. But the Patriots still were in the game by like making these like small things and, getting some breaks or whatever from the officiating, which, by the way, Ezekiel Elliott like losing his mind after the game. I actually didn't think the game was officiated that bad. I thought a lot of the holding calls were freaking holding calls.
Right.
But, I think this season, and it was a heartbreaking loss. It was, especially after you get a 21-20 lead and then, Kendrick Bourne, just the ball hits him right in the hands. Like at that point, I think you want to run the football there. At least, the play calling as a whole right now is just driving me to drink more than I usually do.
Why is the play calling so bad? Because I don't think we've ever, last year definitely, but before that, when Brady was here, was he just
I think that's
doing the play calling? Because
Brady,
we never really had those issues when he was here. Everybody thought McDaniels was like a flipping genius.
Makes me think McDaniels would be working at McDonald's if it wasn't for freaking Brady. It's like ridiculous.
I think McDaniels was here's the thing, like McDaniels and Patricia on the defensive side, right?
Yeah.
I know everyone says it's not Patricia, but he's got a hand in this. This is kind of his defense. The 2017 Patriots, they weren't a great defensive team. That was his last year as the defensive coordinator. And then they weren't spectacular at all, and he's got this, specific scheme and gave up like a lot of passing yards and things like that too. And then on offense, McDaniels hasn't done like really anything great. He's been very predictable over the last few seasons. He'll bust out like those trick plays every once in a great while, but overall he's super, super predictable. And I really think they need to take the reins off of Mac at this point.
Is this a case of Brady covering up some limitations that McDaniels had?
I think so. I'll get this one last point before I leave. Two is another thing you think about when Cam came in, how much talk was like, I'm sure McDaniels is so excited now he can really let the leash off and do these deep plays he couldn't do. I feel like maybe that just was his offense the whole time because not much really changed. Cam was kind of limited, but not much really is, changed in this offense.
It feels that way because people used to say Brady can't throw the ball deep.
Yeah.
He obviously can. Tampa Bay found out that he can. So, that's not a bad point. Before we let you go, Little Shoes, I need to ask what is on your microphone arm. What is this?
I don't know why.
Like penny in the brain or something.
Is Bart from the Halloween ones?
What?
They did like the Halloween
Bart
Simpson specials. Yeah, it's
Bart
Simpson.
You can't even see Bart Simpson.
Treehouse of Horrors or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I had to know. So go ahead, make your final point. I'm sorry.
And I just back to some of those like Miami. If we gave Mac the opportunity to really go off in the red zone there, we could have won that. And another talk with like Trayvon getting burned. It's like they are hyping him up. He has all these interceptions, which is great, but he's also on pace to let up like the most yards like ever.
Yeah.
He's the type of guy that he fully commits and he'll either get an interception or get blown away and let up all these yards.
That was the worst. That was such a bad interception.
That was so hilarious.
Oh my God.
He got messed on though. All right. I think I'll be here next week.
Little Shoes is out. All right. Well, we'll work that out.
I gotta go bring home the cash.
Spoiler alert. We'll let you go. All right.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Take it easy, Little Shoes.
I think the best reaction, Billy's reaction to that was awesome.
All right. See you next week. Bye.
All right, man. See ya.
See you, buddy.
All right, Rubber Shoes. You haven't gotten to weigh in on the Patriots, so let's hear it. I know you.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as everyone else. I think they kind of they're afraid to unleash the Mac.
Unleash the Mac. I like that.
I don't understand that at the end of halftime they call a timeout. And they get the ball back with time. I think it was about 1:20 left. They run the ball once and then they kneel down. And it's like, okay, why'd you take the timeout and then run the ball? If you were just going to go into halftime, you would have just kneeled it down so you don't have to worry about Damian fumbling again. And then the same at the end of regulation, they had a chance to do something. It was only 20 seconds, but still you could get a couple.
He can't leave. Get out of here. Oh, he can't hear me.
No. So but Billy's deaf now.
Josh Richardson is not playing tonight because of migraine.
Oh, okay. That wasn't in the rant and wrap up this morning?
No. So by that. Yeah, and then in overtime it was a very vanilla offense. And it's like, okay, you receive the ball first. If you score a touchdown, they can't come back. So let's go for it.
Right. Right.
Really did.
They did. Like if Aguilar catches that ball first play, that slant, and I saw a picture of it. There is nobody, no safeties deep, nobody. If he catches that, it's literally Demaryius Thomas in Denver, like Tebow time. He's like, like just nobody going to catch him. He's gone and he scores. And that ball hit him right in the fucking hands, man. Like, I've been relatively happy with Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, not so much. He's getting a little bit better the last couple of weeks, but the wide receiver core is outside of Jacoby Myers, who, by the way, who else feels so friggin' bad for this guy?
I know.
He has more catches and more yards without scoring a touchdown. And then you look like
anybody.
Beautiful score and like a really nice crossing route. Yeah. He gets to the end zone and I'm pumped for him. Like, oh, that's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah.
Flag.
Right.
Like, oh, that feels so bad.
I wonder how many has he had other touchdowns called back? I don't remember I'm sure he has, but I don't remember him getting in the end zone and having another one called back. I don't remember that.
Didn't he have one against Houston? I thought actually it was like 2 weeks in a row. I think.
Oh, really?
He did. Yeah.
I have to look. I don't remember that.
I don't understand. They're not using Kendrick Bourne much. I mean, he had the one catch for 75 yards. He was only targeted that time where he hit off his hands and they got the interception. He had 2 targets, 1 for a touchdown, and that was it for the game. I mean, I don't know why it seems like you see Jacoby Myers a lot and Aguilar's out there, but he can never get open. And now you're seeing N'Keal Harry out there a lot, but even he's not getting open either. It seems like when Kendrick Bourne is out there, he gets open and he's available to make a catch.
That was a hell of a throw and a hell of a catch and run. I mean, one of the best that we've seen from Mac Jones, certainly, but even in the last 2 years, I think that was one of the best, throws and catches that we've seen for a couple of years since Brady left.
Yeah, I'd like to see them be a little more aggressive. Now, the elephant in the room. I don't know if it's the elephant in the room for you guys, but for me, frickin' Romo is the biggest Cowboy kiss ass.
Oh yeah, so bad.
Of course,
that's so bad.
I have never been so into a regular season game in such a long time because I wanted the Patriots to win so bad so I could just shove it down his throat.
Well, of course he's going to
get so pissed.
But he's on CBS, so he never gets to call a Dallas game, right? So, you kind of give him – I'm not trying to defend Romo because I was pissed too. I was like, oh, my God, okay.
It's like you watch a game, what Aikman does the Cowboys, he's pretty neutral. It's like he sways a little to the Cowboys because I don't mind that if you do it a little bit, but when you're so obvious.
But
about
Aikman
it.
gets a Cowboys game like every other week.
Like, oh, Mac Jones, if he hits a few more like that, he'll be just like Dak Prescott. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's the bar. That's the top of the bar. Dak Prescott? No, I don't think so.
But not only that, but like it was even in his inflection, his tone. Yeah. When he was like talking, he's like up here when he's talking about like the Cowboys, like, hey, look at this is amazing. Yeah. Look at this. And then when it came to like, the Patriots, it was like, well, they do some things good. They're okay. And like, what? It's like, that wasn't bad. That's not holding. That wasn't holding, and he's like,
that's the stuff that drives me crazy. It seems like a lot of the national broadcast, they always seem to, I don't, maybe other teams, fans feel the same way. I always feel like the commentators are always against the Patriots, against the Red Sox, and for the other team. It drives me nuts.
Well, let's just, I hear you, Rubber Shoes, but let's just be real about what this is, right? The Red Sox have won quite a few World Series in the last 20 years. We're on pace to go for our fifth one this year if we win this series, right?
If you're a national broadcaster, you're supposed to be down the middle.
But
I tell you,
I don't know.
I think John Smoltz has done a great job.
Smoltz has done a really good job, and he played for the Red Sox.
Except for the stupid area code game. Other than that, I really I don't understand that thing. Like, really, I don't need to know. I don't care what area code is up on the board. I really don't.
Smoltz has done good, and it's funny because I actually think Buck hasn't been that bad. Buck has been okay. Now, granted, they're not playing against the Yankees.
I was going to say he's only a homer when they're playing against the Yankees.
Yeah, Smoltz used to play for the Red Sox, so he doesn't. Right. I haven't been able to tell that he's biased one way or the other. He seemed to be pretty right down the middle.
I don't want to dump on Jim Nantz, but because I like Jim Nantz, but anytime he calls,
you're the one.
You don't like Jim Nantz? Oh, I love Jim Nantz.
You don't like Jim Nantz?
That's surprising.
I'm a big fan.
I love him. The only time
friends.
He's he's such a homer for Brady though. Anytime he calls a game Brady's playing in, he's like,
he's called a million of them.
I know,
he's called so many.
I know, and he loves
what? I
think
him. I don't like him because I don't like him on the Masters. I don't like
really.
I
think he's a great. I think he's great.
So that transfers over to the football games. I just I don't like him.
All right,
it's so fake.
Rubber Shoes, I want to know what you think about this moral victory thing. And I didn't, by the way, for the record, I didn't call it a moral victory. I said it was a good loss. To me, there's a difference between the two. A moral victory is like, oh, we're so shitty that thank God we only lost by 10 points. For me, a good loss is like, okay, we made some progress in some areas that we needed to make some progress in. We still definitely still have some work to do. But it felt good. We competed really strong. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Scotty that said it or Little Shoes. I don't think there's anything as a good loss. There's nothing better than winning a close game, especially when you're got a young quarterback. But yeah, you could take away things from the game. And like Scotty says, it's Mac Jones isn't our problem.
Right.
The defense is a lot, although that Buccaneers game, they played really good. But other than that, that was supposed to be our strong point. That was supposed to be, I think Hightower looks really old. Van Noy looks old. Their young guys aren't bigger, quick enough. It's like Judon's the only guy that stands out. And J.C. Jackson, when you're the number one cornerback out there, you're gonna get beat sometimes. Even Stephon Gilmore got beat. Even Deion Sanders got beat. So I think he's playing really well. You hear his name when he gets burned once in a while, but that's gonna happen. You can't be 100%.
Their secondary is so banged up. I mean, they have Jonathan Jones has been now like in and out of the game because of different like injuries, knee, hip, etc.
I think he's been playing really good too.
He has, and I'll give him a lot of credit because he also plays really hard, man. The guy plays really hard. But they brought in Brian Poole, who used to play for the Falcons today for a workout, and then they assigned Miles Bryant, who's actually been with the Patriots. They signed him off the practice squad, so they know they're pretty thin. I would agree, though. I think Jackson's actually played really well this year. I've been a little disappointed with Jalen Mills. But at the end of that game, I mean, they were just gassed.
Yeah, everybody was. All of them were.
They were just gassed. That defense had been on the field forever. It seemed
they were playing that hurry up offense. That's what I wanted to see from the Patriots. Get on, put your foot on the gas, go for it. That's what the Cowboys did. They didn't let them rest. They're like, we're going. We're not huddling. We're gonna go right to the next play. And yeah, the defense was gassed. You couldn't make a substitution because you would have either had too many men on the field or not enough.
Right.
But I think like right now, especially the last 2 years where they've had a lot more heartbreaking losses than wins, obviously. One of the things I've noticed is like, this is where the Brady experience is being missed the most, in my opinion, right? He knew how to make big plays, and there was like, it was a different feeling. And I felt like it was a different feeling for the entire team, where near the end of the game, when you have someone like Tom Brady or like a Michael Jordan, these type of closers that that you've had, these historic, great performers, especially at the end of games, everyone has that next level of, hey, you know what? We got this. We're going to win regardless of the situation. Right now, they're still trying to work their way through it. And you're seeing these losses that they typically would have won in previous years with Tommy.
So you think Brady wins this game? I mean, the Patriots with Brady win that Cowboys game?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, interesting.
We're right back.
The Corey household is just in and out of the podcast. What is happening?
Yeah.
I mean, look, we don't get paid for the podcast. So just to be clear, they're not bailing on their job, but where he's going. Oh, and there's Little Shoes. He's back. Happening? What? He could have been on for another 40 minutes. What is going on?
Yeah, he's going to be late for work now.
Oh, geez.
Couldn't find his keys.
So in our drive, I live in a 2-family. My in-laws live upstairs. My wife's aunt is visiting my in-laws right now. She's parked where he can't get my wife's car out, which he originally was going to take. So he had to come in and get the key to my car, which he didn't come in the front door because it was locked, and he just realized he has a key on his key ring.
Oh my. I mean, I want to dig in more to this, but I think we have more sports to talk about, so maybe we'll dig into that next week. All right, so I know we have to talk about the Celtics. Please, I didn't forget. All right, we're not going to talk about the WNBA this week. I'll save time for the Celtics. I promise. Okay, yeah, I know.
So the thing, right. Just last point for me on
yeah.
Patriots is good teams figure out how to win those close games. The Buccaneers aren't killing anyone this year, but they got killed by the Rams, the one game they lost, but they haven't, their wins haven't been blowouts. They've been close games, and they figure out how to win those close games. Bad teams figure out how to lose these close games, and that's it. The Patriots are a bad team right now.
All right.
I wouldn't put them at the bad. I just put them at, like, right now they're mediocre.
Well, they're better than
Jets. They're better than the Jets. They're better than like Detroit. They're better than those teams. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, no, to your point, I agree.
Right, they're not with, like, Texas. I mean, the Texans.
Like you got great, you got good, you got mediocre, and the Patriots are like right there. Yep. And then you got terrible and shitty and tragic. All
right,
so they're gonna be hard pressed to make the playoffs because even if they went on a run, there's so many teams they have to get past to make the playoffs that it's going to be really hard for them to do.
Still a favorable schedule remaining, but yeah, it's gonna be tough.
It's just all the teams they got to jump over to get there.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Just to put this out there, okay. So the year that the on to Cincinnati comment happened came right after a blowout loss to the Chiefs. Everybody thought Brady was done and cooked, and the Patriots sucked. And I'm pretty sure their record was it 1-3 or 1-4 at the time?
No, they were 2-2.
2-2. Okay. 2-2. So it was a little bit better than I thought, but let's just, me personally, I don't think you can even say, are they a mediocre or a good team? I mean, at this point you can say, but I think by the end of the season, we'll obviously know a lot more. A 2-4 is a record. They could be 4-2 right now, depending on a couple of things go a certain way for them. So I know what your point is about, good teams find a way to win and bad teams find a way to lose. And so far they've found a way to lose, but I do think that the schedule is favorable. And I think personally that it's a long way to go, but I think they could back into the playoffs. And if they do that, then they have sort of struck on some, struck on something that they can build off of in the playoffs, and you never know what happens. It's only a one-game season at that point.
That's the thing too. I mean, like to your point though, I mean they're literally just a couple of plays away from being even almost 5-1. The only game they really weren't in at all, where they showed up and just played like
Saints
crap.
Game.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were just dog shit from jump on that one. They just never got out of the gate, and they could never finish it up. So
right.
Last week at Little Shoes and I went over the rest of the schedule, and we figured they're probably right around 7-8 wins.
Okay. So they could well, if they only get 8 wins, they're not going to make the playoffs at 8 and 9, I wouldn't think.
No, that's why I don't think they're going to make it.
All right. Well, remains to be seen. I'm not sure we need to. What happened?
I said I have more optimism, but
okay. I have optimism too. I'm more on the optimism side. But then again, I drafted Sony Michel in our fantasy league, so who am I? All right. So do we want to go quickly on predictions for the Jets game? Rubber Shoes, what do we think?
I'll say 27-17 Patriots.
All right. Scotty Dukes?
28-13 Pats.
All right. And I'm 21-6 Pats. All right. So very official. Let's move on to, we're going to do sort of a hybrid Celtics Bruins mashup segment here because both seasons just getting underway. The Celtics get underway tonight against the Knicks. What a great storyline. Kemba Walker playing, and who gives a shit? Okay. So, what do we think? Celtics, Scotty, I'm going to let you start it off. Do we think the Celtics are going to be a competitive team this year, or do we think they're going to be? Yeah. All right. First of all, shout out to your Larry Bird jersey, the legend. You got to rock it on opening night. I like it. Okay. Yes.
Definitely have to. So, for me, yes, I think that I actually looking forward to the Celtics team. A lot of it is because of I still love the Udoka signing in my opinion. Like I think that's a really good pick for a coach. I think that the players are going to respond really, really well to him. I like the makeup of the team because I think they're going to be more defensive minded. Even though Richardson's not playing tonight, but bringing him in, he's a defensive. And I actually thought they were going to keep Kendrick Dunn, but they didn't end up keeping him. But it's all going to be about how well Brown and Tatum take the next step, right? Yeah. That's going to be the big thing there. And if Marcus Smart is actually going to buy into Udoka's system around being an actual point guard, those two things are really going to be, critical because Schroeder's is not really a pass first point guard. He can dish the rock a little bit, but he likes to score. Peyton Pritchard, I think, is going to be big off the bench. But, to really feed and get things going, Tatum and Brown have to be, kind of team first, but also just take that next step to be superstars. And I think they can do that. It's also, I think, like beneficial for them. The fact that like Kyrie is just being like such a douche and like just not going to play half this season. That's definitely going to help them because the East is, not great. It's not that great of a conference this year. It's still, I think the West is still a lot better. So I think they're going to be. I'm going to say they're going to be between a 3 and a 5 seed. Okay. I think 5 seed is going to be like is their floor. And I think they'll probably be around like I think a 3 seed personally. And then
so top 2 you think are Bucks and Nets probably. Yeah. Okay.
Even without Kyrie, but with you got Durant and Harden, right? You know what I mean? That team is really, really good. Nice to see the Hawks. I think are going to be a lot better this year too. But
okay,
it was nice to see the Bucks smoke them last night.
Yeah.
Well, I think personally, and I know we're talking Celtics, but I think the Bucks are just a step above everybody else at this point. I think you not only do you have the championship under your belt, but also. Giannis is just at another level from even just last year. He just stepped it up to another level. I think he's far and away the best player in the conference. I think that Middleton and some of their supporting cast are, that just gives you the confidence. You win a championship. You've got a swag about you that you go into every game thinking you're going to win, whether you have Giannis on the floor for 40 minutes or not. So I think the Nets are going to be the ones that are going to struggle a little bit. But like you said, you've got Harden and you've got KD, so anything is possible.
the Marcus Aldridge and see what he comes back with, because he had the heart issue and stuff too. And
that's right. Yep,
he's going to play too. But you never know with that team. That team's there's a lot of. I think there's almost as many question marks. Not as many as Philadelphia, with what the hell's going on over there. The fact that Doc is like, I gotta practice. I love that. Yeah. I loved it, and I also loved, like, he was just telling reporters, he's like, it's none of your goddamn business. Like, this is an internal thing. That's what we're trying to do. They kept asking him. He's like, I'm sorry. Look, guys, it's just none of your business. We'll handle that. But Simmons is a freaking mess. I don't even know what they're gonna get for him. If they end up trying to trade him, but I wouldn't trade for Ben Simmons right now. Couldn't. I mean, it would, because they're still going to want a lot for him, and the asking price is still way too high. He's a talented kid, but there's just right now his headspace is just not in it. Up. Yeah. But
I think for the Celtics, the interesting piece is going to be, first of all, Tatum, whether he takes that next step. I mean, he took a big giant leap last year too, actually. I mean, in the playoffs, he just really did take a big step, but now he has been working hard in the offseason. And they need him to be on the level of a Giannis. He's not quite there yet, obviously, but they need him to be on that level. And I think Jalen is a good number 2 to his Giannis, right? And, if you're using that analogy, I'm not sure they have the supporting cast around those two yet. I mean, I think, if Robert Williams can stay healthy, good, fine. Like you said, Pritchard off the bench is going to be good. But who else do they have off the bench would be my
I think Nesmith is going to be key this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
I completely agree with that too. I think he had a great summer. Yep. His preseason, he looked really good too. His confidence is just skyrocketing.
Huge deal there when they make that step. They're great shooters in college. Just getting that confidence. That's like Carson Edwards just never got the confidence.
Right.
He never got the time. He never got the minutes.
In the summer, his first summer league was unbelievable. I'm like, I can't wait to see this kid play and and he just couldn't. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. They don't get a lot of playing time, and you get in there for a couple minutes here and there, and you go 0 for 3. You just keep losing your confidence.
Yeah. Right.
I'd say the biggest sleeper for me, and this is going to sound really freaking weird. Watch out for Grant Williams this year. This is a big year for him. It's his 3rd year. Dude shedded he shed some of the baby fat that he had.
No kidding.
He really does. Yeah. I mean, the dude's he's like I don't want to compare him to Barkley only because he's the same height as Barkley, 6'6", 6'6" playing power forward. But yeah, he shred some of the baby fat. He's a little bit more jacked, and he's moving up and down the floor. He's actually starting tonight.
I saw that. He's
going to start tonight, which is pretty interesting. I'll be interested to see how that plays out. But I like him a lot. I think he does fit the system pretty well, and he's a guy that knows his role. And I think that's the thing when I go back to Udoka and that signing is the system that he's going to put in place. If everyone buys in and everyone buys into that role, especially Marcus Smart, then I really think they do have enough pieces. Now, is enough pieces to get a chip? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless Tatum just, becomes otherworldly, but it's going to be, I'm pumped for this season. I really am pumped for this season.
The other thing about Grant Williams is that he is a really good, by all accounts, a really good locker room guy. And they, Marcus Smart can be an asshole sometimes. And you've got to have that guy that's the rah-rah guy too. So, to offset that a little bit. So
and they have a few of those guys too. Yeah. I think the locker room is actually pretty good,
if Smart can keep it under control. I agree with you. And that's a big if, by the way.
If Udoka can keep on these guys to play a system, not do the isolation ball like they were doing so much of last year, and it seemed like Stevenson was just let him
and it'll happen every once in a while. That's fine.
Yeah.
You got a guy like Tatum.
A lot.
Fine.
I like what he did with Marcus Smart. I know it was a preseason game, but they suspended him and they let it out. That was to let people know that what happened. They could have just said, "Oh yeah, he's resting for getting rest, taking a day off for rest."
Right.
And but they made it known he was suspended for missing the plane, and I hope he sticks with it and is not going to take any crap from these guys, and I think they need it, and I feel if they can play how we all think they can, I think they can push Brooklyn for the number 2 seed.
I like it.
So
I'm with you. Rubber Shoes is not always the optimistic one. So
he really isn't. I'm like blown away.
So I don't. The Nets have great players, but I don't think they're a great team.
Yes.
You know,
Agreed.
In a playoff system, in a playoff, it's hard to, you game plan more in the playoffs. It's hard to beat a team like that. But in the regular season, they're going to take days off just because they don't feel like playing. And I think you can push them for that seed. And a lot of them don't even care what seed they end up in.
Right.
No, you're right. They don't.
Like LeBron feels he's like, oh, we can come in the AC and I can still win a championship. It doesn't matter.
But what I hate
wrong last year though.
Yeah, and also Rubber Shoes. I know this will probably break your heart, but I think the Lakers are in the same boat. I think they're not. They've got a real good collection of amazing talent, and they're just not a team. And I mean, they can become one. They can become one. But...
I'm not a Lakers fan anymore. Don't worry.
Oh, I thought you were still a Lakers fan. Oh.
No. And I think Westbrook could blow that thing up.
Oh yeah, Westbrook's a horrible signing
for that team. I think if I was a Lakers fan, my biggest concern would be their health, because you've got
what happened in the playoffs last year.
Exactly. Yeah. Are they going to be healthy? How healthy are they going to be? And then also, how often are they all going to play together?
Right.
If they're not all healthy and they don't play together, when they do get to the postseason, it's going to be like, oh, I thought you were going to be in the corner and I passed it there or whatever.
Right.
Things like that. So,
well, that a little bit of that is what happened with the Nets. All right.
I thought that was my cat crossing in front of me.
I love that it's happening.
Is this happening?
Like, you didn't hear it?
No, I didn't hear it at all. Get out of here. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she looks a lot like my cat.
Best.
Does she weigh 75 pounds? Because that's what
mine still looks like. My cat's 9 years old, and it's still like the size of a 1-year-old cat.
Tune in for the Red Sox talk. Stay for the cat talk.
Yeah.
Right.
ATB. All right.
How about them Bruins?
Rubber Shoes. Let's talk Bruins real quick. Hit me with your.
All right. So I was wrong last week when I said that Ullman. Now I can't even remember his name. Linus was going to get the start in game one, because I read it somewhere that but then he came out and said, oh no, we didn't make a pick, and then Swayman ended up starting the first game. So I like to see that. I hope they go with the kid. The same with what I was saying about the Patriots. Let him go.
Yeah.
Although they did pay Elmark a lot of money to be a backup, but I'd rather see him get the chance. If he goes in a skid, then okay, the Bruins are still a good team. They want to make the playoffs. But in hockey of any sport, you can come in as an 8 seed and win the whole
100%. 100%.
So
yeah,
regular season, you just want to stay afloat, stay in the playoff picture, and then see what happens in the playoffs. But give the kid as much of a chance as possible to get him going, because I think he can win you a championship, and that's what you need in the playoffs. Like last year, Carey Price got the Canadians to the finals. They had no business being in the finals, but it was basically because of Carey Price.
Yeah,
was standing on his head. And I mean, Tim Thomas. You get a goalie playing out of his mind, then you have a real chance. And this kid looks like he can become that type of goaltender. So I'm all behind that. Go with him.
So are they
Maine?
Yeah.
Are they a 2, 3, 4 seed? I know you said it doesn't really matter, but what do you think?
They're back in with the Lightning. They have the Lightning in their division again this year. They're probably, I'm thinking they're probably 3 or 4.
3 or 4? Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to remember what there was one team that the Rangers got better, but actually I don't even think they're in it. I'm so confused at the what divisions everyone's in after last year. Last year screwed me up. So this year we have Florida Panthers, who's supposed to be really an improved team this year. Buffalo is 3-0 right now, who aren't supposed to be that good. So, and same with Detroit right now. Florida's in first. They're only in first because they played. I don't know why the Bruins have played one game. The rest of their division, they've played at least 3 games already.
That's weird.
Yeah, so they're in 7th spot because they only have 2 points, because that's all they've been able to
Right. Yeah.
But Tampa, Toronto, Florida. Those are going to be the teams they're fighting for the top of the division.
This is by far the best time for sports, right? October, November, because you've got Patriots, Bruins, and Celtics all playing, but then also this year we're lucky enough to have the Red Sox playing. So we have a ton of stuff to talk about. And Rubber Shoes talks about it every morning on the Rubber Shoes Wrap Up and Rant on Instagram. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. Go to ATB_show to follow us on Instagram, and mostly Rubber Shoes. And he will have a different uniform on every day. So that's, good. And check us out at atbshow.com to get the latest episodes. And we do your favorite podcast app. If you want to grab it as a podcast or watch it on YouTube, you can do the same as well. One last thing before we go, Rubber Shoes. I have to say this new backdrop, because I know you're watching the Red Sox game, has this is a much more refined sports fan backdrop. Less Funko Pop, more historic photos like Bobby Orr over your shoulder and Larry Bird over your shoulder. I like that a lot. So
Patrick Waugh.
Oh yeah, there he is. Oh yeah,
we ignored that.
I was trying to ignore
that on
it.
purpose.
I was
on
trying
purpose.
to ignore it. Yeah.
All right. This one I think is Cam Neely.
That's a good picture. I like that one.
Which one? Oh, the one over
the
here.
one right next to the Boston Bruin, next to the door.
Oh yeah,
And this up here, you could just catch the edge of it. This is an autographed basketball with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Oh, how is that? How is that not in the Funko Pop room? That should have a mantle of its own. That's amazing.
With like a light on it, just goes, like the entire time.
And over here, this is a Drew Bledsoe football.
Yeah,
you should seriously though. You should get like a light on it, and then when people walk by the motion center, just have it go. Like that. I think it'd be amazing. I think this is a great idea.
That's a great idea. All right, workshop that, Rubber Shoes, while we're over the week that we're off. All right, fellas, thank you for joining us. Our best wishes to Timmy and family. They'll be back. Timmy will be back next week. Go Celts, go Bruins, go Pats.
Hopefully we're talking Red Sox still next week.
Go Sox. So we have an update. Is it still 1-0?
Yeah.
Still 1-0. Bottom of the third.
All right. We'll check you next week. Thanks again. And check us out at atbshow.com. See you guys.
Go Sox.
Go Sox.